Welcome to the Deliberate Leaders podcast with Emerging Talent. I'm your host, Anna Teely. On this podcast, we connect with professionals in their 20s and 30s to gain insight into their journeys, aspirations, and motivations. I'm excited to introduce to you Nathan Pape with with a lot of different things. He's an inspired young professional. So, welcome, Nathan.
Thank you. I feel like, I don't know. You did that really well. I don't know if I could give an intro that smooth.
No, thank
That,
you.
that was awesome.
First question, help me understand your career journey.
So my career journey, I would almost call it two or three different journeys all happening at once. Um, so I'm a screenwriter. I haven't sold anything or done anything with anything yet, but it's a process that's happening. I have four or five different scripts that are being worked on right now. Two TV shows and three movies to be exact. Um, I'm also a musician. And with these two things, I want to make a career out of specifically just one of them because there's that saying, don't make your hobby your career. And so I'm like, well, I can turn one of them into a great career. I'll just keep the other one as, something fun to do. Like, do you know who Cillian Murphy is?
No.
He's an actor. He's playing Oppenheimer in the upcoming movie Oppenheimer. Um, he before acting professionally was in a punk rock band in Ireland, and they actually got offered a major record deal, and he said no because he's like, no, I'm just gonna be an actor and just do music for fun. And I kind of like that idea of like you don't have to turn everything into a career. And then the other journey is I've been working with Albertsons for 7.5 years, and the way I look at that is, there are times you might fail at something, might have a fallback, a setback. When you at least have a job that pays your bills to fall back on, you don't hit the ground nearly as hard. I've seen people ditch everything from their life before. I'm going to go be this big rock star, and then it doesn't work out, and they're broke and don't have a job. So yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, keeping it for its purpose. So that's
Yes,
not the passion. The passion is in process.
exactly. There's the things you want to do, and there's the things you need to do, and to turn what you want to do in what you need to do, it takes time and work.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
How would you define success in your career?
Um, I mean, being able to support myself, obviously, but I think being able to help other people, like if you have friends who are struggling financially and being able to help them without question and not have any strings attached, and also just being happy. Like, I don't know, I would rather have $50,000 and be happy than have 1 million and be miserable. And I know that sounds kind of crazy to a lot of people, but I don't know. Just you learn to value happiness, I think, when you have spent a lot of time not being happy. And I mean, literally, until about 3 months ago, I had basically the previous 3 years just been to some extent very depressed. And I think once you climb out of that, you have a whole new appreciation for just feeling okay about things and not stressing or anything like that. I don't know. That's There's a guy who used to shop at my store. He worked at Micron, and he and I always had good encounters. He was always cool to me. We've had some good conversations over the years. Um, but someone that I worked with one day asked him, he's like, "You seem just really unhappy." And I guess he said, like, "I hate my job." And it just goes to show you, yeah, you can have this cool job and all this money, but that isn't that isn't everything.
Yeah. So for you, I guess, be as vulnerable as you would like, but what was your turning point that got you out of that depressive state into more like joyful, it doesn't matter what I have, just as long as like community or however.
So, gosh, let's see if I have enough fingers to count this on. Learning to not worry about the things I can't control. like having friends or family members that are dealing with like an addiction or something, like that's their fight. I just need to be supportive and not enabling, but supportive. Um, what was the next? I just had them in my brain. Everything I was gonna say, because there were so many things. Resolving conflicts with people close to me that had been ongoing. That was a weight off my shoulders. Oh my gosh. Um, and then this one was kind of cool. There had been a certain position at work I'd been chasing for like 3 or 4 years, and I finally got it. That was pretty cool. And all of these things happened like all at once, like in a span of like a month, like resolving conflicts, just great support system, coming to peace with things that I just needed to come to peace with, and then getting promoted. It was just this wave 3 months ago of like, oh my gosh, life is so good right now. And now, as time's gone on, it's not as exciting all the time, but the joy is still there.
Mhm.
And that's been really, really cool to just be like, wow, I wake up and I'm not grumpy or anything when I first wake up. I can wake up and talk to people, you know? Yeah, just good things happening, whether it be, well, I was going to say whether it be dumb luck or work, but I don't know. I think there's an amount of work in all of that.
Mhm.
So,
And it's not like, I think a lot of people get caught up in like work being their life and that being like the catalyst for if they're happy, if they're sad. But it sounds like you have a lot of things going on. So it's not necessarily like the promotion that made your life so much better, but it was just that like break in the mundane that had been going on for a while and the achievement that you've been going after.
yeah. And I love that you said that, the break in the mundane, because this isn't to disrespect anybody who's, you know, I guess standard, for lack of a better term, who aren't absolutely weird like I am, because I'm a very outside of the box person. Like that's putting it lightly. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very strange individual. And for someone like me to get put in a management position, like that's nuts. Just to think about, I'm like, dang, this is kind of glass ceiling shattering a little bit, because I think the personality, as long as the person's not problematic, really doesn't mean as much as the work does. I've had people I worked with that I did not like and did not get along with, but I could look at them and be like, no, they worked like really, really hard. And if that's the case, like the respect is still going to be there. I don't like the idea that someone, I don't know, a lot of people I know have that idea of, if they don't like someone, oh, that person, everything about them is terrible. They're
Yeah.
all bad. There are people, and I try not to be hateful, there are people I can't stand that I honestly, when I'm around them, like I'm just miserable. But at the same time, they have accomplishments in their life that I respect so much that it's like, you know, they're not that bad. Like, look
Mhm.
at the positives, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's good that you have that perspective because there's a lot of people, we trade on this, but a lot of people who are like the technical people that if they're salesmen, they make the sales, they get the customers and they're really good at that. And then they'll get promoted to being a manager and they don't know how to manage people, but they still know how to be salespeople. And so like
Yeah.
you're able to respect like maybe you're not being the most emotionally intelligent right now or the best leader, but I can still respect that you're someone to look up to if I want to be gaining skill in that.
Oh yeah. Well, and so the position I got was the front end service supervisor position, or SS as we call it, not to be confused with World War II references. Um, but legit, that's an actual confusion people have had. I tell them I'm an SS, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Not like that."
Not like that. Yeah.
But I there was a previous SS that I worked with when I was in high school, and she's one of the people that I just did not get along with. Like when we worked together later, when I was in my 20s, then we got along great. But when I was younger, yeah, we didn't get along, and I think part of it was because when I was a kid, I don't know, like I was wild. when I was wild until I was like 22, you know. You could make an argument that I still am, you know, but that may have fed into why we didn't get along. And if you ask me about that tenure working with this person, I will tell you that she drove me crazy and she is the best SS I've ever worked with. End of story. And that kind of sounds ironic, but it's like, you know, I know when it came to that, like I was part of the problem. I don't think I was the whole problem. I don't think there's a good guy or a bad guy, but I was part of the problem. You know, it happens. You know, learn from it and grow. There's no reason to be all like, nah, I didn't do anything wrong. I've never done anything wrong. I find that to be the most ridiculous mindset. And so many people have that mindset. I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, we're the good ones. So within Albertsons or within your other fun
Ventures.
hobbies, ventures, do you have a mentor?
Um, what's funny so with music, I would say if I had to describe anyone as a mentor, so I took actual guitar classes when I was in middle and high school from a fantastic guitar player and teacher named Dave Hibbard. Um, and I'm bummed that that company that had all the music teachers closed. Like I'm still so sad about that. Um, and then my older brother also helped a lot as well. He is mostly self-taught as a guitar player, which for how good he is kind of insane. And he helped me a lot really early on. And then after that, it was just exploring things and learning things. But yeah, early on, guitar teacher and my brother. Screenwriting's a weird one because I just randomly got into it. When I was 16, I watched the movie The Usual Suspects, and for some reason, I was just like I hadn't seen any movies like that before. And then I finished it and went, I want to do that. I want to make something that can wow people like this just wowed me. Like I had never seen anything like that. And then some of the shows I've gotten into since then, because I'm always looking for new things to watch because I'm taking in a lot of info. And also it just helps me relax. Um, and it was funny. Everyone that I worked with kept telling me, and it sounded like such a broken record thing where they're like, you need to watch Breaking Bad. And I just always was like, okay, yeah, that's the show everyone thinks is so good. And then a couple months ago, I was out of work with COVID, and I was like, you know what? All I got is time. I'll watch Breaking Bad. Marathoned it that entire week I was out. You know what? It is that good. It's there's a reason it's been called the greatest TV show ever made.
Oh man, that's a bold statement. Have you
It's
watched
yeah.
Ted Lasso? I mean,
Okay, I've heard amazing things about Ted Lasso, and a lot of people have told me as a writer that I would probably get a lot out of it. So I do need to see it. Yeah.
so other shows that you watch that can be inspiring to you, your brother and his guitar teacher, Dave Hibbard.
Yep. Yep. Just yeah, art. You know, essentially all it is. Just I think it's just art. You
Yeah.
know, you either get into it or you don't. We all have different tastes, but I think the best way to be successful about it is just having fun with it. You know, like don't go into it with that career motivation when you're first doing it, because then it's just going to feel like a chore and it's not going to bring out your best. I don't think that Quentin Tarantino writes movies with the mindset that most of us have when we go to work. A, because they're just too clever and fun, and B, because he only releases a movie like once every 5 years. So I don't know. That's my take on that. Just have fun.
Yes. Um, how do you prioritize your professional goals?
Well, with Albertsons, you know, I have a schedule, so I have to go in when I'm scheduled. But outside of that, it really just depends on how I'm feeling, you know, what I'm going to work on, how much of it I want to do. And beyond that, also what I have access to. I've been doing screenwriting a little more lately because I had to sell my bass a little while back, which was super unfortunate. I haven't played the bass in, gosh, 2 years. Um, but I'm still writing music with a number of different people, but it's a matter of schedules lining up and how much time people have on their hands. Um, a lot of us have jobs in management positions now, either that or like truck driving, so we're all very busy. Um, but with music, I think for me, like because I want to sit there and just like I can write, I can do lyrics, right? Well, no, I don't want to do that because I like if I'm writing lyrically, I like to write to the music that's already made. You know, I don't
Mhm.
want to tell them to build what they're writing around what I have because that is so hard to do. When someone's like, "Yeah, write something for this poem," can't. Sorry, if I do, it's not going to be that good.
Mhm.
um, but if someone's like, "Hey, can you write like a vocal melody for this already completely recorded song that just needs vocals?" Yeah, easy. Just gonna think, oh, what sounds good? You know, like not easy. None of it's easy,
Right.
but yeah, it's comparatively, it's a lot easier to do it that way, and it generally will come out better. Um, but I don't know. There are movies like mainly if I'm directing something, I would rather direct just single films. I wouldn't want to direct a TV show. I would rather just write these scripts and sell them to like a streaming service. And that's literally my plan. Like for having financial success with this, just sell scripts to streaming services. So if you're listening, Netflix.
Yeah. Okay, so how are you like eventually you want to quit Albertsons and you'll want to make one of these two hobbies your profession.
Mhm.
Um, and I think when we start to move from it being a hobby to a profession and it making us money, we then start to go into panic mode. So do you have like but you already sound like super calm and not like motivated by fear, which is great. So I want to know your technique to that, but also like what's your plan to move it from a hobby to a profession and the goals around that?
I think the moment when one of these things will become a profession is I think when I'm well off enough financially that I don't need to technically have an employer and that I can operate independently and then do this. If there gets to a point where I like own a house and I'm just sitting on a bunch of money and I'm like, what do I do with all this? I think that's when the actual filmmaking portion of things is going to begin. And then it's going to become much more of a full time thing. But I do kind of laugh at the fact that there is going to be a little in between period where I won't have enough money to actually make a movie, but I'll have enough money to not have to work.
Yeah.
That's going to be probably the most fun period of it all. Maybe I'll just stay like that, right?
Yeah, well, it's fun and it's also terrifying, right? Because kind of the uncertainty is enough
Oh,
to
yeah.
keep you on top
Well,
of things.
and looking at a huge amount of money, I think a lot of people would look at it and they think they're going to react like Scrooge McDuck with the giant pool of the gold coins. First of all, don't jump into that. Second of all, I think of it more and going to reference Breaking Bad again. There's a scene where his wife rents a storage unit because he just has so much money. Like he's pulled in like $80 million. And when she uncovers the stack of money in the storage unit, when you look at it, it's not like, oh wow, that's amazing. It's scary. Like I feel like having that much money, especially for someone who didn't grow up with a lot of money, is terrifying. So how am I going to handle that? I'm going to rent a storage unit and hide it in a storage unit.
Ah, don't let that demotivate you. Don't let that be a limiting belief just because you didn't grow up with it or because you don't know how to like see it
Well,
now. Like you're worth a
yeah,
lot of money.
yeah, and I think yeah, I think it's just one of those things. Like, I didn't grow up with it, but I think that has helped me learn to appreciate it more,
Mhm.
being in a comfortable spot financially. Um, and there was never like, I don't know, when I say I didn't grow up with money, it wasn't like we were like living in like a dilapidated house or starving or anything. Like, no, like when I was a kid, my folks always managed to get food on the table. We were always good, which is saying something because they had 5 kids and a
I didn't realize your
lot of,
family was big.
yeah, I mean, there's 6, but one of them had already moved out at this point by the time the economy went down. But yeah, uh, so yeah, no, it wasn't like, oh, we struggled to survive. It was just like, you know, store brands of food, which half the time is the same thing. Like,
It is.
come on. Like, shout out Safeway for bringing in, with their merger with Albertsons, for bringing in actually the signature brand products, because a lot of them are actually really good. I haven't bought Barilla pasta or store or name brand painkillers in like 7 years. Like, legit. If you look at the ingredients on a bottle of Advil and then a bottle of store brand ibuprofen, they are the exact same thing. It's like, why spend extra money for a name, you know?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you experienced any particular moments of doubt or uncertainty in your career?
Are we talking with Albertsons or are we talking with the independent stuff?
All of it.
All of
Whatever
it?
one you
Okay.
feel most like called to talk about.
Mm. With music, lately, getting back into it, I've been really rusty, even just on my writing. That was getting to me a little bit. But then I was flipping through some pages of a notebook I have, and I found a song I had written, and it's funny. It sounds so goofy on the surface. The song's called "Welcome to the Asylum," um,
Goofy.
and so the reason for that name is it's more just based on the idea of not feeling the need to present fake faces for society, or the idea of people who are odd and out of the box not needing to feel bad about it. But I think to someone who has never been through any of those things or haven't had severe mental health struggles, they see these people as being absolutely insane. So instead of the idea of being like, I promise you, I'm not crazy. It's like, you know what? If you want to think I'm crazy, cool. I'll be crazy. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
welcome to the asylum. Um, but and I reread that, and I remember that was a song I was really proud of because of the way it's structured. Um, and it was weird. You'd think if this is the one I'm proud of, that a lot of work went into it. Honestly, I wrote that song when I was half asleep. Like, literally, I there was next to no work involved. It just kind of occurred to me, and then over time, I'm like, damn, like I did something good here. This is nice. Um, Screenwriting, oh gosh, this is like the one thing I don't have much humility for, because it's something I took to so naturally and just makes so much sense to me. When someone's like, what if someone tells you you wrote a bad script? I'll be like, well, unless they can write a better one, like, I don't care, you
Yeah,
know?
I love that.
Um, and then with Albertsons, oh gosh, most of that for me was a journey of self-doubt, you know? It to the point where it's almost weird now, feeling good about things. But then again, when you're jumping into a management position for the first time, there's a lot of doubt early on, you know, because your mistakes have bigger consequences.
Mhm.
So I'm like, ooh, okay, don't want to do anything too terrible. So
Yeah, so the one you probably cared the least about has given you the most like anguish over the past couple of years.
yeah, ironically, yeah. I think when
That's
it because
interesting.
like I don't dislike my job by any means. Like, I work with a lot of great folks. You know, my job I have right now is really, really, and I work in a neighborhood that's like, it's not near the airport like the store that I used to work at was. So it's the same people all the time to the point where I'm like, do I know everyone in Southeast Boise now? Like, this is crazy. I know like half this town. This is wild. It might as well be its own little small town. It's,
Mhm.
oh gosh, they just need to get better restaurants over here.
They're achieving their mission then, because doesn't Albertsons want to be the neighborhood one-stop shop?
Yeah, no, but I was talking like fast food. Like,
Oh,
no, I don't know. The other stores I've worked at, if I'm on my lunch and I don't know, there's so many different places you can go for food. My current store, there is, oh gosh, like I don't know, there's West Side Drive-In, but like in half an hour, like I that's kind of a rush to eat really greasy food, and I don't want to do that. That's
yeah.
how you hurt yourself. Um, and yeah, these are the new struggles, right? First world problems. Oh, what am I gonna eat? I don't know. All right, fine. Lunchables it is. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
you're never too old to eat Lunchables. If there's one
I
lesson to take away from this today, you are never too old for Lunchables.
until you eat it and then it makes your stomach sick. That's been my experience.
I haven't had that happen yet. I hope it doesn't happen. Was it the pizza ones?
Yeah.
Yep, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I don't get those too much. I usually stick with like I don't know, they have these like upgraded ones now where it'll be like a sub sandwich, like a full sub sandwich, and it's actually all right. Like it's not
Okay.
bad.
The
It's
next
like
time I have
$3.
$7 to spend on a
It's like four, all right?
okay.
Three if you go
Okay.
to Winco.
If you could quit Albertsons right now and start, it seems like screenwriting is like the most easiest for you and the most like fun, maybe. What holds you
Yeah. Sorry, what?
what holds you back from doing that today?
Holds me back from doing it? You know what? Being confident enough in the completed script. And it's not like a, oh, this isn't good kind of thing. Cause I mean, like I said, art is art, but there's always a part of me like I'll be like, okay, I'll turn this in. Like I wrote a script for my senior project in high school. And I'm turning it in thinking this is really good. I read it about 3 months ago. Same script. This is a script I wrote 6 years ago. Not even kidding. And I read it and went, this is not good.
This is
Like,
not, yeah.
what was I thinking? There are so many problems with this. And I'm now trying to rewrite that entire script because there are so many scenes where I'm just like, this scene is not necessary. This scene needs to be longer. I was like, dang, I just kind of threw that together for a high school senior project. It was kind of funny when I turned it in, they were scrolling down and the part they stopped at was a scene that I am not going to talk about on this podcast because it's kind of dark. And they're just like, who hurt you?
Are you okay? Yeah.
But no, that I think everyone has a part of their brain that's kind of twisted, a part of ourselves that's not, I don't know, for lack of a better term, I think there's an evil to some extent in every person. Um, and it's funny, a lot of the people who I've seen handle it really well are people who are like hardcore gamers.
Interesting.
So, and then I found out later that there was a study done on people who play like first person shooter games that they are so much less angry generally than everyone else. Like generally, like not like every time factually, but they're more like peaceful. And it makes sense to me. It's like you're getting all that out in a video game. I'm getting it all out on paper because I'd rather take it out on paper or music than take it out on my friends or my family, Like it's going to work out better that way. You can either destroy things or you can create things. It all comes from the same place, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so shifting a little bit, like specifically being an employee, um, again, not bad mouthing, but just your experience. How have
Mm.
you navigated workplace politics or difficult colleagues?
So I think the thing that held me back for so long. And I didn't get into it, but I think the reason it took as long as it took for me to get what I wanted, and the reason why I wasn't an SS 3 years ago, is because I didn't get into workplace politics. Like I show up as just a more family friendly version of myself. And I don't know. I don't see the point in engaging the difficulties and stuff. The worst thing is when you mind your own business and you get dragged into workplace drama. I'm just like, dude, I did not ask for this. But the funny thing I've discovered is when it's going on, all that stuff, workplace politics, all the drama, while it's going on, it's really irritating. When you look back at it, like past issues that have happened, I don't know why you'd think I'd be like, oh, that was dumb. It makes me laugh so hard. Like it's like in a fun way, just comedically. Like if it was something I was like a conflict I had with someone, I look back at it, I'm like, that was so silly. Like,
Mhm.
what was the point there? So then, I mean, you go to any workplace like that, there's gonna be there's gonna be things that happen. There's gonna be people who you don't get along with, people who aren't super great to be around. But, you know, I feel like, I don't know, I've worked with people who try to be the person who stamps that out. And it has a good impact at first, but then over time, they try to keep doing it even when it's not necessary. And then they become the problem. So for me, I kind of just do my thing.
Mhm.
Like right now, I am focused on succeeding at a promotion that I got. And that's my only goal. There's no real attachments. I don't make a lot of friends through work. The two people that I'm like really close friends with that I worked with, one of them quit a few months ago. The other one is quitting within the next couple of weeks. So now it's just going to be complete career focus for when I'm there. And then when I'm not there, like I'm talking about it with you, but like, I don't know. I've noticed when I'm happy and nothing's bothering me with work, I never talk about work. And I don't know if that's just like a me thing or if other people are like that. I don't know, maybe because I don't know, how often do you hear someone talk about their job and they're not complaining? Like if they're happy, there's nothing to talk about. Life's good.
Nathan, you got to get more better career focused friends, and that's all we talk about.
Yeah.
Wait, so clarifying, you said whenever you started getting into the workplace politics, that's when a promotion found you?
No, I never considered myself a workplace politician. I've always hated the idea of it. I think I'm just stubborn. Um, I got promoted, I think because, well, A, I don't know how many other people applied. B, my whole department, like it felt like my whole store was behind me. I was like,
No.
I've never been cool before. This is different. Um, and then C, the guy I interviewed with, even though he and I are very different as people, I think that I talked about the idea of no matter where I end up, as long as it's a place where there's growth, that's where I want to be. I think that statement alone in the interview was why I got promoted. And it
Mhm.
wasn't a false statement. Like that's legit how I feel about things. If I ended up doing a career completely different from everything we've talked about here, but there's a whole bunch of personal growth and I'm happy and fulfilled doing it, then I'm good.
Yeah.
Cool. More hobbies. Sweet. Like the only reason I don't keep them both as hobbies is because you can make good money doing this stuff. So I'm like, oh, no, having an actual job and still being financially stable, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of, I don't want to say, I don't know. I have a hard time looking at screenwriting as a lot of work because I love doing it.
Mhm.
I don't feel like I'm working, but it does take up a lot of time and energy. Like it doesn't feel like a hassle when you're doing it, But when I stop, looking at a screen too long, probably not good for my brain. And then B, just I don't know, my brain I don't know. I try to think about things, and for some reason, I'm just like I don't want to. Like, there's no actual thoughts going on. And honestly, some of the best sleep I've ever gotten was after just writing all day.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay, we're gonna move into rapid fire. So the first thing that comes to your mind, or like after you've thought about it, answer it, and then we'll ask the
Okay,
next question. Okay,
sounds good.
what's your go-to source of inspiration when you need to refocus and motivate yourself as a leader?
Very angry music.
Love it. What's one self-development practice that you swear by, and how has it helped you in your leadership journey?
Um, Before you say anything, especially if you're, you know, high tension or reacting emotionally, wait about 4 or 5 seconds. What you would have said versus what you end up saying if you wait a few seconds, huge difference, and it usually goes over a lot better.
So good. If you could develop any leadership trait overnight, what would it be?
Time travel.
No, I don't know if that's a leadership, but it counts. What is your best tip or trick or tool to leverage your personal or professional life?
Ooh, best trick, honestly. I don't know if I have a trick, honestly. I think just honestly, just staying focused, literally just being consciously aware that you need to be focused as well. Because just going, oh, I need to focus is one thing, but really understanding why you need to stay focused in depth, I think, extra context for things.
Yes. And then what's one book or resource that has had a profound impact on your leadership style?
Uh,
Breaking Bad.
this, this is gonna sound bad. Three different Giancarlo Esposito characters.
Okay. What is that?
Giancarlo Esposito is an actor. He's in Breaking Bad.
Oh,
He's also in The Mandalorian and The Boys. And it's funny; these characters aren't exactly good people. I'm not taking inspiration from that, but there are certain things about each of these characters in their conviction, and I don't know. There's just something about it, each character that I really, really enjoy. And plus, they're all in major leadership positions. And when it comes to those positions, outside of the super bad stuff, there's conviction and there's dedication. So yeah, it's just all of Giancarlo's characters minus the evil.
yes.
That's it.
All right, Nathan, thank you so much for taking the time to be on this podcast and share about your
Absolutely.
career journey and how you've gotten here and where you're going. If someone has
Absolutely. Thank
really
you.
resonated, yeah, if someone has resonated with what you've said and are hoping that you can act as a sounding board or short-term mentor, what is the best way they can reach out to you?
Um, that is a good question. Honestly, just Facebook. Like that's
Facebook.
gonna sound so cheesy, but Facebook. That's-
Love it.
I I don't have any other social media. I'm secretly an old man inside a 24-year
Yeah.
old's body.
If I didn't need social media, I would be on the same boat.
uh,
All
yeah, I don't
right.
know. But
Thank
yeah.
you so much for your time and for this interview. And I look forward to chatting again soon.
Hey, same. This was great. Um, Stay safe, everybody. Eat your vitamins, all that good stuff, and
Okay.
we'll
Bye bye.
we'll hopefully be back.
Yes.